You're listening to Whole Being RN Radio with Audrey Christie, episode 094.
Thanks for tuning in to Whole Being RN Radio. Here is your host, holistic wellness practitioner, Audrey Christie McLaughlin.
Welcome to Whole Being RN Radio, your show for functional nutrition, energy medicine, and whole being wellness for the entire family. I'm your host, holistic wellness practitioner, Audrey Christie. I help people find relief and remission from autoimmune disease and other chronic illnesses. This is episode 094. Today, we are talking about the big, ugly stress. Yes, stress is such an impactful thing in our journey, in our lives, and for those with autoimmune disease. This episode is sponsored by our friends over at Gemstone Well. Gemstone Well is your home for the safest gem elixirs available with the Elixir to Go bottle. And y'all, there is a lifetime warranty there. So grab the new Crystal Elixir to Go bottle, the new Crystal Energy Bowl, and give your food and beverages a good vibes charge, and your pets too. Check them out at gemstonewell.com. So today we're talking about stress, and not just stress as in we're going to talk about all the bad things that happen to you when you get stressed, because that's just going to create more stress, right? But we're actually going to talk about some ways to naturally lower your stress levels, because stress is extremely damaging to not only our mental health, but also our physical health. And even though we know exactly how serious it is, it's so hard to find an effective way to get rid of it or at least reduce it. So we're going to talk about some of that today. But first, let's dive into stress a little bit. We know that stress is unavoidable and that it is one of those things that is perceived, right? So what is stressful to me is not stressful to you, and what might not stress you out might send me into a stressful flare. We also know that stress hormones, although they get a lot of bad reps, things like cortisol, which is a messenger in our body commonly related to stress, we know that we need those things. It helps us wake up in the morning, for example. But we also know that too much of a good thing, just like in any other category of your life, can cause people to experience not only flares of autoimmune diseases, but it's actually been proven that stress is one of the root causes of autoimmune conditions, regardless of what that is. So we've seen it with psoriasis, with thyroid type autoimmune disease, so Hashimoto's, those sort of things. We've seen it with fibromyalgia and pain. We have seen it with rheumatoid and pain and inflammation. Almost every autoimmune condition has a link to stress, even diabetes, right? So we know that those autoimmune conditions that I mentioned are not a disease of their symptoms, meaning rheumatoid arthritis is not a disease of the joints. It's actually much, much deeper than that. And part of that is the stress that happens in your body that has an effect on your immune system. Your immune system is built to protect you, right? But when you're exposed to stress, it is one of the very first systems in your body that works kind of like an alarm system to your house, right? Or your car. When somebody bumps your car, that alarm goes off. Same thing with your stress level. When your stress level gets bumped, when your buttons get pushed, when they're pushed all the time, then that first protective mechanism in your body is the immune system. So when that happens, part of your brain, being the magical control system for your body, starts to activate these little messengers in your body, two of which are called adrenaline and cortisol, and those are released out into your blood. And what those two little chemical messengers do in your blood is they start to activate immune cells and prepare those immune cells to fight against the enemy. Well, the enemy is that adrenaline and cortisol that your body needs. So this is the mechanism or the way that long-term stress leads to long-term inflammation and the increasing risk of developing and flaring autoimmune conditions. One really cool thing that we're learning is that stress from your childhood and even stress from your parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, so inherited stressors, can have an impact on the immune system and on your risk of either developing an autoimmune condition, or if you've already developed an autoimmune condition, it can play a part in your risk of flares or the number of flares that you have. Now, if causing or flaring your autoimmune condition isn't enough to make you want to work on getting rid of your stress, or at least work on managing it in a healthful way, then what about stress aging your body? Studies show us that chronic stress ages the entire body at an increased rate. It actually works to diminish your heart health and lends people to become overweight and even obese. So, as people age, as you age, your body becomes less capable to respond well to stress, and certain regions of the brain actually no longer react to stress signals in the same way. And because of this, the hormone cortisol that we talked about, that chemical messenger, can take longer to be suppressed. And that longer term exposure, the longer that cortisol is floating around in your body, the more inflammation you build. Stress also is highly impactful on sleep. And as we know, getting a good night's sleep is important so that you can do all the things, not just keep your inflammation down. And then finally, we also know that emotional stress is often one of the triggers for autoimmune disease as an entirety. So, for being diagnosed with autoimmune disease or developing the outward appearance of that autoimmune disease, or for flare ups. So, a lot of times, a cause for a flare up is a big emotional impact. So, all of those things are the negative things that stress does to your body, right? So, let's talk about some of the really effective ways to lower stress naturally. We're going to talk about 6 different ways, and they will help to reduce the chronic stress in your life. Now, the first one, you might roll your eyes a little bit, but the first one is movement. And you've probably heard of this before, but movement is a really great stress reliever. Exercising releases endorphins, which are these natural compounds in your body that actually work to reduce stress and pain. And the awesome part about it is that you don't have to do some crazy exercise or some intense workout or run a half marathon to get this benefit. All it takes is being minimally physically active every single day. That could be a short walk in the sunshine. It could be swimming. It could be weightlifting at the gym. I always tell people to find what works for you. And a lot of times when I'm working with clients, we look at what they enjoyed doing as a child. Maybe it was cycling. I have a lot of clients that were gymnasts as children or cheerleaders, and usually I lead them towards yoga. Maybe it's playing basketball or volleyball or any of those things. You would be surprised how good it will make you feel if you just get outside for a brief stroll. Bonus points, bonus stress reducing points, and bonus health points if it's in the sunshine and if it's barefoot too, if the weather is, if you're able to do that in your climate. The second big effective way to lower stress naturally is something called an adaptogen supplement. Now, adaptogens are natural herbs. They help your body to adapt to stressors in your environment versus pharmaceutical drugs that change the chemistry in your body. Now, a common adaptogen that is really great at stress is ashwagandha. And the stress response might feel like when you have a big stress response, it might feel like it's only in your mind, but your entire body actually responds. Think of your heart rate and your blood pressure increasing. You might even, if you're super stressed, you might have difficulty focusing on something or even start breathing rapidly. So what adaptogens do is they come in and they calm that nervous system down. Beautiful part is they are completely natural and they don't carry any side effects. Because they're adaptogens, they adapt to what your body needs at that time. My third tactic for reducing stress naturally is to schedule some me time. I totally get it. I also live a very busy life. I'm a very busy mom, a very busy business person and practitioner. But here's the thing. You can't let life get so overwhelmingly busy that you forget about yourself. The old adage to put your own oxygen mask on first is 100% true. I have lived it and learned that lesson a million times. Scheduling in some me time on your calendar is as important, if not more important, than that business meeting, than that lunch with your friends. So take time at least once a week or as often as your schedule allows. I personally take that time every day at 2 p.m. And every morning, first thing when I wake up. But take that time as often as your schedule allows to relax and do something that calms you down. Read a book, have a bath, meditate, watch a funny movie. The important factor is not to cancel on yourself. And if you go ahead and set that in your calendar now, guys, with technology, you can just make that a repeating date, right? And then when you look at your calendar, you know that you're not available on that date. Boundaries are key to number 3 in scheduling me time. Number 4, get enough good quality sleep. The last several episodes, I've talked about getting enough good quality sleep and how to do that. I'll also link in the show notes page at audreychristie.com/094. I will link a post with all the good information on sleep because I cannot stress how important getting enough sleep is for your overall well-being. And it's one of the foundational pieces that we fix when a client comes into my practice. Sleep is one of those foundational things. Very first things we have to fix before we make any other changes because you can't do anything if you're not getting enough good quality sleep. Not to mention, it's proven to reduce feelings of anxiety and stress significantly. So if you think about it, you probably know how irritated and frustrated and upset you get when you're exhausted and you haven't slept enough. I know I do. So you want to make sure, even if you think you can make it on 6 hours, you're really aiming for 7+ hours of sleep every single night. I have yet to have someone prove me wrong on that. So if you need less than that, let's talk about it. Number 5, eat healthy whole foods. And it's kind of funny when you put these in this order. If you're exercising, if you're taking an adaptogen supplement, if you're scheduling your me time and getting enough good quality sleep, then eating healthy whole foods is pleasurable and easy and gasp delicious. Because here's the thing, the foods that you eat have a tremendous impact on your stress levels, both positive and negative. If you eat loads of processed sugary foods, you will notice that your stress will get worse and worse and worse. But if you eat all kinds of nutrient-dense, real whole foods, you can actually counteract the damaging effects of stress on your body. And it helps you feel significantly better, usually immediately, like within a day, maybe 3 days. So you want to look at healthy fats like omega-3 fatty acids. You can find those in avocados and nuts and seeds and seaweeds. Those can actually help regulate your cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone we talked about in the beginning that is oh so damaging, but also required to live. That one, omega-3 fatty acids. I have a lot of recommendations on the Wellness Tools page on omega-3 fatty acid brands that you can take and cutting out the middleman and making sure you're not getting microplastics and mercury and all that good stuff. So check that out, audreychristie.com/094, and I will link to that as well. The very last strategy, number 6, calming essential oils. Essential oils are powerful natural remedies, and they are remedies for all sorts of health problems, from acne to indigestion to stress. Lavender is a really well-known essential oil, and it's really well known for its calming properties. Fun fact, it's also an adaptogen, just like ashwagandha, although I do not recommend taking it orally. What I do recommend is putting this in an aromatherapy diffuser. You can also apply it topically to help you relieve stress and sleep better. My secret is putting it on the toe tips and then also on the backs of my ears. So just behind the ears when I'm looking to sleep better. I recommend Young Living essential oils. You can find out all that information and all the education I have there for both practitioners and for people who aren't practitioners at audreychristie.com/essential oils. Another really great oil is rose oil. It's actually an hydrosol, but it's a really powerfully calming oil, and it can help reduce feelings of stress and anxiety as well. I do want you to be careful because essential oils are very, very potent, and it is possible to use too much. So use caution. Always dilute with a gluten-free carrier oil like grapeseed or coconut oil. If you don't have those, olive oil totally works too. So to wrap this up, know that stress is remarkably damaging to our mental and physical health, especially when we are trying to be on the healing path for autoimmune disease. If you would like to download 5 things that you can start doing today to help get free and clear of autoimmune disease, you can download that on the show notes page at audreychristie.com/094. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you'd like to contribute to this podcasting effort of getting the world out on how to heal your body, please be sure and subscribe, share this episode and give us a rating on your favorite podcast provider. I would be oh so grateful. Thank you again for listening. Be well.